Python Week 2, and we'll be going over conditional statements. So we'll just do a recap of what we went over last week. So a variable can have almost any name except a name with spaces in it. It can't be named after existing Python commands, so such as result or print, and it can't start with a numeral or a symbol. So these are the basic data types. An integer is a whole number, a float is a number with a decimal, and a string is a word or series of characters, and they must be written inside quotation marks. So math in Python, you can use Python like a calculator to perform mathematical operations on values and variables. So you can add using the plus sign, subtract, multiply, and divide. So the basics. So a function in Python. So a function is a command that performs complex actions, and it always ends in parentheses. And the function will take whatever you put in the parentheses as an input. And some are built in, but you can, and later on we will be making your own. So print outputs some information, whereas the type tell you, for example, a print outputs some information, whereas the type will tell you the data type of something. So today we'll be going over conditional statements. So a conditional statement is a function that performs a certain action depending on whether a specific value is true or false. There are 3 types of conditionals in Python: if, else, and elif. So this is just a video from Bill Gates explaining if statements.
People make decisions every day. For example, before you go outside, you kind of have an if statement that says, if it's raining, then I need to get my jacket. And computers are amazing once you decide those kinds of statements, that they can reliably execute those things at unbelievable speed. And so a computer program really is a little bit of math and some if statements where the decision gets made. So in this puzzle, the if block helps the zombie make a decision. Right. It checks something. For example, let's use the block that says, if there's a path to the left, and put a turn left command inside it. So we're telling the zombie to check its surroundings, see if there's that path on the left, and if so, make that turn. And then we use the move forward block inside this repeat to get it to keep moving forward as long as it just wants to go straight. Then when there's the turn, the if block will tell it to make this turn to the left. And you can see if we do that, if we're taking the turns to the left and otherwise moving forward, we'll achieve our goal. So it's an example of using an if statement, which is really a fundamental concept in computer programming. One of the first things I learned was how to write a program to play tic-tac-toe. And so I had if statements to say, okay, if the other person's about to win, go ahead and block that spot. So have fun learning how to use if statements. It's a key concept.
All right. So for today, I mostly focused on live coding the examples. So I'll just redo it here. So when writing an if statement, you start out with the if, then you write whatever condition you want. So let's just say if 3 plus 7 equals 4 equals, when writing the equals in Python for if statements, you have to use 2 equal signs. And if it is equal to 7, colon, you always have to have a colon after. Then you do print 7. So if I were to run this, it would give me an output of 7. However, let's just say that this condition, I said it equal to 6 and it was false, then it would just skip over it and print no output. It'll only be printed, or the function will only be executed if this condition up here is true. For if statements, you can also add in elifs to add an unlimited amount of conditions. So let's just say elif 4 plus 3 or 4 plus 4 equals 8. Print 8. Or then it would just skip from 3 plus 4, this first condition here, to the elif statement. And even if this one isn't true, you can keep adding as many as you'd like. And they still all wouldn't compute or be executed unless the condition is true. However, let's just say you have a lot of elif statements and you just want to skip right to an else statement. If all of these are false, then the else is kind of like a final one. The last one, you can only add in one else, and it's usually at the end of this loop or this if statement. You would just put else, colon, whatever you want to print. And it would just go straight to false. Okay, Simon? Okay, I'll probably just take that as a yes for now. All right. So if you want to run it, what type of error does it give you? It says invalid syntax. So remember, after every, so does anyone know what it was?
You need to add the 2 dots after the 5.
Yep. Okay. And what about for the second line?
Where it says if num equals 5, you have to add another equal sign.
Okay. Yep. All right, so I know these were a bit quick, but I also wanted to show you another resource. If you did want to do more practice during the week, there's a website called w3resource.com. I can just add it in here. And so what it has is it has extra exercises on Python for specific, or for Python for specific types of lessons or different units. So they have some for conditionals. They also have some for strings and all of that. So if you did want to practice more throughout the week, or if you just need a quick refresher, you could just come in here. So what I wanted to do is see if anyone could try to walk through and tell me. I'll split my screen. If anyone would be able to walk through it and tell me what to do for a certain problem. Okay. Which one? What's the one I wanted to do? All right. So for number 2, this one right here. Anyone like to try it? or anyone have any problems they would like to try on the page in general. I can send you this specific page to see. So you can go through and anyone see if they want one they want to try together. I'll also help you out with it as well. But don't cheat. Anyone find one? Or anyone want to try one from last week as well, from the strings, for one on the strings page too, maybe, if you feel you're not comfortable for conditionals yet. It's also these over here. No one wants to try one? All right then. Okay, so if you want, I can walk through one of these exercises here. Okay. So we're going to attempt number 4 over here. So it says write a Python program which accepts the radius of a circle from the user and computes the area. So for example, a simple output would be r equals 1.1 and area equals 3.80. You see. All right. So does anyone have an idea of how we would start? What input we would need in order to compute the radius? So overall goal. Or how about we just do one where you're computing radius in general? So go to find the radius of a circle using Python. So what would you need to find the radius? Anyone know the formula? R equals no one knows the formula for radius. All right. So the formula, sorry, hold on. All right, okay. So radius formula or you know what, maybe it would be easier to do circumference. Yeah, circumference of a circle. So C equals 2 times 3.14 2 pi times r. So how would we do this using Python? Can you guys hear me? All right, so then how would you do multiplication in Python? Right, you use the asterisk. So you're doing 2 times pi times radius. So how would I type that out? Exactly, Isabel. 2 asterisk 3.14 asterisk r. So if we did that here and we took in what, let's just say from the sample output over here, and we had C equals 2 times 3.14 times 1.1. And when you would run that, and then print C, you get 6.9, right? So let's just say now we wanted to take it from the radius to also compute the area as well, or from circumference. So if we look it up, area of a circle. So when you look it up, it says the area of a circle is pi times r squared. So anyone know how you would type that out using Python? A equals area equals pi to the second, area equals pi times r to the second power. That's fine. So Isabel said area equals 3.14 times r. So we defined that earlier, r equals 1.1. So if we go now, we print area, you get 3.80. So look at it. You solved the problem, you see? Good job, guys. You guys want to try another one? All right, so number 5, write a Python program which accepts the user's first and last name and print them in reverse order with a space between them. So just to recap, how would you print out multiple strings? So let me just create a new cell for this. You can also look at last book's notebook if you need help with that as well, or you need to refresh, that's fine. Anyone remember how to print out two strings? But let me start with this. What is a string? Right. So a string would be a word in quotes around it, right? So let's just say, how would you store, or let's just try it out with my name. My name, and let's see. So how would you store it so Python would be able to know the first and last name? What would you store it using? I'll give you a little hint. Right, you'll use it using a string. So if I write out my first name, Liliann, and then last name, or let me do a camel case. Last name, Ulysse, right? So then how would you print it out? What would you use? The function print, right? So then how would you print out these two names or combine both strings? Right. So it'll be first name plus, I accidentally ran it. Let's just quotes with a space between it. And then last name, like Adam said, you see? So now it says to do it in reverse order with a space between them. So how would you go about that? All right, as well, try it out. Print last name plus, keep pressing return, sorry. Space plus first name. You see, you did it. All right, we'll probably try one more exercise. Okay. All right, so try number 10. Okay, so write a Python program that accepts an integer, and it'll be a variable named n, and it computes the value of n plus nn plus nnn. Okay, so quick, what integer would you want to do? Just give me a number. All right, we'll start off with 10. So it says to do n plus nn plus n plus n times n plus n times n times n. So anyone know how would you go about this? Or write it out in the chat maybe? All right, so then let's try it. So results, print results. I'll just say, okay, I'm just make sure it's not a function. Okay, result. So n plus n times n n plus n times n plus n times n So this is a result. So anybody put it in a calculator. So if I were to go to calculator, check it, right? Ten plus 10 times, this one might not be the best for this. I'll just put it on my phone. Or anyone else want to try putting it in the calculator to see? Or maybe if you want to test it out, let's use the sample value they used here. So with 5, if it produced the same thing, nope. It would produce 155 when it's supposed to produce 615. So anyone else have an idea of how to do it? So all right, so I guess since we're running low on time, I'll show you how I would do this. So I would say maybe in 1 or n2, I'll just have n times n, just to make sure the Python itself wouldn't get tripped up on all the different operations. And n3, so when you do it for result, n plus n2 plus n3, and then once you print the results, let's just see the sample solution. Am I not understanding this correctly? Yeah, they just made this super complicated. I don't know why, but I'll just say you got it. Like, I feel like you understood the logic of it correctly. So it's fine. All right. So again, remember, if you still want the Google Collab notebooks, make sure to email office. I'll put it in the chat again, office.sitenf.org. Make sure you email them with Python notes in the subject line to request for the Google Collab notebook, since it's unable to be uploaded onto the WordPress site. And also, recording of this lesson will be uploaded on the WordPress site, on the site as well. So also another reminder, there will be no class next week because of Memorial Day weekend. So have a good 2 weeks, guys, and see you soon. All right, bye-bye.